want to bring in Roxane Cohen Silver, who's a distinguished professor of psychology, public health, and medicine at the University of California, Irvine. Thank you so much for being here with us. Really appreciate it. Millions of people.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. Millions of people have watched that the horrible video of Charlie Kirk being shot. What does it do to us, to our brains, when we keep watching stuff like this over and over again?
Well, I can say that what was perhaps most unique about the video that was distributed unwittingly by many people the other day was that it went on autoplay on social media. So people would have seen it inadvertently, as opposed to what might have happened previously, which is that people would need to seek it out. And my colleagues and I have conducted research over the last 20, 30 years that suggests that there is no psychological benefit to exposure to graphic, gruesome images, videos. And in fact, in contrast to being any psychological benefit, we see very strong evidence that watching these kinds of graphic images can be psychologically damaging, and in fact can have physiological and physical health consequences over time.
Yeah, I imagine it's the same, just consuming all the social media that we do, because it's just exploding with angry reactions and people calling for revenge. I mean, what does all that rage and political polarization do to us when we're exposed to it and seeing it constantly?
Well, one thing we see since the pandemic is that in many cases, it's all bad news all the time. And in fact, during the pandemic, that bad news escalated. Since the most recent events, we have seen, as you clearly indicate, there has been enormous rage and anxiety, distress. And we know that political polarization is also very stressful. So the combination is perhaps almost too much to bear. We're seeing collective trauma that has been compounded day after day by new events. And unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be abating anytime soon.
No, not at all. And talk to me about the fear. I mean, after Kirk was killed, several black colleges got threats and had to lock down. I mean, when people are genuinely scared for their safety like this, I mean, how do you deal with this kind of fear?
One thing that happens, which is actually counterproductive, is that when we are anxious, we monitor our environment for things that might make us more anxious. So if we're concerned about terrorism or mass violence, we often monitor our environment to seek out whether or not there's safety or not. What that inadvertently does is lead us to engage in even more media about mass violence. And so it's a self-perpetuating cycle that's very difficult to extricate oneself.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we heard from the Utah's governor there. He went on to say, he called social media a cancer and urged people to log off. I mean, you talked about the dangers of always sort of engaging with us. I mean, how do we disconnect while still staying informed?
Well, I personally have not seen the video. I personally do not engage with violent graphic videos or even graphic images. And I can stay in touch with the news by reading, but by not clicking on videos that have a warning label saying that it's graphic. I don't think that it is necessary to watch those videos in order to stay informed about this story, this or any other story. So I strongly encourage people to monitor how much graphic media they are consuming. I strongly encourage people to avoid those graphic images if they can, not seek them out. If they've seen them once, make sure they don't look at them again.
As
And
you
I think it's extremely important.
Yeah, as you said earlier, though, it is so hard to avoid, and young people especially might not have the self control to stop engaging with it. So for parents out there, I mean, many of them are probably wondering, how the heck do you talk to your kids about this, especially when, as we say, those videos are all over social media. I mean, what should they be doing? What should parents be saying right now?
I think they probably should ask whether or not their child has seen these images and ask them how they're feeling about it. They could engage in a conversation, but strongly discourage repeated exposure, strongly discourage people, get their children from sending these images to other people. I think when people distribute these kinds of images in social media, they really don't think about or realize the potential psychological consequences for the recipient. And I think talking to one's children, and it's not just children though, I think adults are also quite susceptible to this. And I think it's extremely important that we recognize that there is no psychological benefit to watching these images.
And indeed, it can be harmful, as you said. An important message in these troubling times. Really appreciate it. Roxane Cohen Silver, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.